Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows by J.K. Rowling is the final and most emotionally intense book in the Harry Potter series. Published in 2007, the novel brings together years of mystery, character development, moral conflict, and emotional growth into a story about sacrifice, mortality, love, power, courage, and the battle between fear and humanity. Although the book contains magic, battles, and fantasy adventure, its deeper meaning goes far beyond the wizarding world. At its core, the Deathly Hallows explores what it means to face death, choose morality over power, remain human during chaos, and continue fighting for hope when fear dominates society. The story begins in a much darker world than the earlier books. Lord Voldemort has taken control of much of the wizarding world. Fear spreads everywhere. The Ministry of Magic has become corrupted, propaganda controls information, innocent people are persecuted, and trust becomes dangerous. This atmosphere reflects one of the novel's central themes: how authoritarian power grows through fear, division, and silence. The world of Harry Potter, once filled with wonder and discovery, now resembles a society under dictatorship. People disappear. Truth becomes manipulated. Prejudice intensifies. Suspicion replaces safety. This shift gives the final book emotional weight because readers witness how fragile freedom and peace truly are. Harry, Ron, and Hermione no longer return to Hogwarts for a normal school year. Instead, they undertake a dangerous mission left to Harry by Albus Dumbledore before his death: finding and destroying Voldemort's Horcruxes. Horcruxes are objects containing fragments of Voldemort's soul. By splitting his soul repeatedly through murder, Voldemort attempted to achieve immortality. This idea becomes one of the novel's deepest philosophical themes. Voldemort fears death so intensely that he sacrifices his humanity trying to avoid it. His obsession with immortality corrupts him completely. He loses empathy, love, compassion, and emotional connection. In contrast, the novel suggests mortality gives life meaning. The acceptance of death becomes a sign of wisdom rather than weakness. Another major theme is sacrifice. Throughout the series, many characters risk themselves for others, but in the Deathly Hallows, sacrifice reaches its emotional climax. The novel repeatedly shows that love often expresses itself through protection, loyalty, and willingness to suffer for others. Harry himself gradually realizes that defeating Voldemort may require his own death. This realization transforms him from a heroic child into someone capable of profound moral courage. Importantly, Harry does not seek power or glory. He acts responsibility, loyalty, and love. This distinction separates him fundamentally from Voldemort. Another central theme is friendship. Harry, Ron, and Hermione spend much of the novel isolated, hunted, exhausted, and uncertain. Their mission is physically dangerous and emotionally draining. Fear and tension create conflict even within the group. Ron temporarily leaves after becoming overwhelmed by insecurity, fear, and the emotional influence of a Horcrux. This moment is important because Rowling portrays friendship realistically. Even strong relationships experience strain under pressure. Yet true friendship involves forgiveness, return, and continued loyalty despite imperfection. Hermione especially represents emotional resilience, intelligence, and devotion throughout the novel. She sacrifices comfort, safety, and even memories of her family to help Harry. Her actions highlight another key lesson: courage often appears quietly through endurance and loyalty rather than dramatic heroics. Another major theme is identity. Harry continues struggling with questions that have followed him throughout the series. Who is he beyond the Chosen One? What separates him from Voldemort? Can power corrupt him too? Throughout the novel, Harry learns that identity is shaped not by destiny alone, but by choices. This message echoes one of the series' core ideas. Moral character comes from decisions, not merely talent, bloodline, or prophecy. Another important theme is truth and complexity. Earlier in the series, Harry idealized Dumbledore almost completely. But in the Deathly Hallows, he discovers troubling aspects of Dumbledore's past. Dumbledore once pursued dangerous ideas connected to wizard supremacy and power alongside Gellert Grindelwald. This revelation deeply shakes Harry. He realizes even wise and good people possess flaws, regrets, and moral failures. This is an important moment of emotional maturity. Growing up often involves recognizing that heroes are human. People can be admirable without being perfect. The novel also explores prejudice and discrimination more directly than ever. Voldemort's movement intensifies persecution against Muggle-born witches and wizards, claiming blood purity determines superiority. This ideology mirrors real-world racism, fascism, and extremist nationalism. Rowling shows how fear and propaganda allow prejudice to spread politically and socially. Another major lesson concerns resistance. Many ordinary characters choose to resist oppression despite enormous danger. Teachers, students, families, and underground groups continue fighting even when victory seems unlikely. This reinforces a powerful idea. Courage is not absence of fear. It is acting despite fear because principles matter more. Neville Longbottom becomes especially important symbolically. Initially awkward and insecure in earlier books, Neville evolves into a brave resistance leader at Hogwarts. His growth demonstrates another central theme of the series. Greatness can emerge from unexpected people. The novel repeatedly emphasizes that heroism is not limited to the naturally powerful or famous. Another key theme is the relationship between power and morality. Voldemort believes domination creates strength. He values fear over love, control over trust, and immortality over humanity. But Rowling consistently portrays this worldview as spiritually empty. Power pursued without ethics destroys both others and oneself. This contrast becomes especially clear through the story of the Deathly Hallows themselves. The Hallows are three legendary magical objects. The Elder Wand, representing power. The Resurrection Stone, representing longing for the dead. The Invisibility Cloak, representing humility and wisdom. The tale surrounding these objects becomes symbolic. Those obsessed with conquering death through power become destroyed by it. Those who accept mortality peacefully live more wisely. Harry ultimately succeeds not because he dominates death, but because he accepts it. This philosophical idea forms the emotional core of the novel. One of the most emotional moments occurs when Harry willingly walks into the Forbidden Forest believing he must die. He chooses sacrifice voluntarily to protect others. This mirrors the protective love his mother showed years earlier. Rowling presents love not as sentimental weakness, but as the deepest force against fear and cruelty. Harry's willingness to die without hatred or selfishness becomes what Voldemort can never understand. This inability to understand love ultimately causes Voldemort's defeat. Another major theme is memory and grief. Throughout the novel, characters carry emotional scars from loss. Parents, mentors, friends, and innocent people die during the war. Rowling does not romanticize conflict. Victory comes with pain. The series matures fully in this final installment by confronting mortality honestly. Yet despite grief, the novel remains hopeful because it emphasizes connection, sacrifice, and continuity. Another important lesson concerns choice under pressure. Many characters face moral decisions during dangerous circumstances. Some choose courage. Others choose betrayal. Others remain passive. The novel repeatedly suggests that ethical character reveals itself most clearly during difficult moments. Draco Malfoy, for example, becomes more emotionally complex. Though raised within prejudice and aligned with Voldemort's world, he struggles emotionally when confronted with real violence and death. Rowling avoids portraying morality too simplistically. People can change, hesitate, regret, and conflict internally. Another major theme is home and belonging. Hogwarts transforms in this book from a magical school into a symbol of resistance, memory, and community. The final battle at Hogwarts carries emotional weight because the castle represents more than buildings. It represents identity, friendship, growth, and shared history. The battle itself symbolizes defense of values larger than individual survival. Another timeless lesson is that ordinary acts matter. Not everyone defeats Dark Lords directly. Some protect others. Some spread truth. Some offer shelter. Some remain kind under fear. Rowling repeatedly honors small acts of bravery alongside major heroics. This gives the novel emotional realism and moral depth. How can someone apply the lessons of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows today? First, recognize that fear becomes dangerous when exploited politically or socially. Second, understand that power without empathy corrupts. Third, value friendship and loyalty deeply. Fourth, accept that courage often involves sacrifice. Fifth, remember that moral choices define identity more than labels or background. Sixth, understand that mortality gives meaning to life. Seventh, resist prejudice and dehumanization wherever they appear. Another practical lesson is emotional resilience. The characters continue forward despite grief, uncertainty, and exhaustion. Hope does not require absence of pain. It requires persistence despite pain. The final summary of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows is this: true strength does not come from domination, immortality, or fear. It comes from love, sacrifice, friendship, courage, and the willingness to choose humanity even during darkness. Those obsessed with controlling death lose themselves. Those who accept vulnerability become truly alive. In the end, the novel reminds readers that evil is defeated not only through power, but through compassion, loyalty, and the refusal to abandon moral integrity even when the world becomes frightening.